My father, Alfredo Muñoz, was in a nursing home facility for 3 years. He had dementia, he had a few underlying health issues, and we used to go to visit him every week as a family. And until March 11th was the last time that we saw him in person. And it was a struggle ever since then, ever since the pandemic, trying to get a hold of a nurse, trying to find out what's going on, how his status is. They would put me on hold, they would transfer the calls, they would hang up on me. At one point, one of the nurses picked up and said, it's very difficult to be answering the phone. There's 2 nurses to 6 floors. You have better luck reaching out to Recreation. That way you could talk to your dad and do a video call. I said, oh, great, I'll do that. So I reached out to Recreation. I started calling 3 to 4 times a week due to appointments. And they were very helpful. As far as reaching the nurses, I still was struggling, trying to get some sort of input as to his status, how he's doing. And they would do the same thing, hang up, keep me on hold, get disconnected, transfer me. Nobody would get back to me. On April 8th, I spoke to my dad. He was sitting up in a wheelchair during a video call. As well as he can speak because he did have dementia. He had a speech impairment because of it. On Thursday, I called, tried to reach somebody, same thing. They would hang up, just get disconnected, no luck. Friday, the same thing. Saturday, the same thing, until finally, after various attempts, I got somebody on the phone. They told me my father was in a deathbed, that he was under an oxygen mask to prepare myself, that he wasn't going to last, that his blood pressure was low. I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. I was in shock. I was devastated. I couldn't understand why nobody notified me, why nobody called me to tell me, why it took me to call them to find out how his status was. My mom, she lives alone. She has an aide that goes there to take care of her, but due to the pandemic, they were scared to actually go, and because they didn't want to contaminate my mother. So I had a fear of that. I brought her over to my house, and I had to start preparing my mother for the worst. Even though we had hopes that he was going to get better, we would still do the video calls, and there wasn't much that we could talk with him. We could just tell him that we loved him and we wanted him to fight. Hopefully he would make it. And it was very difficult. But on April 18th, I got the phone call at 3:30 that my father passed away. There was nothing else for me to do. It's a very traumatic experience, knowing that you can't be there for your loved one. My father didn't deserve to die like this. He died alone. He died alone in a facility with random nurses. I couldn't have a funeral for him. He had to get cremated. His burial was on May 18th. There was no priest that could actually say a prayer over him. It's something that I don't think anybody should go through. It was very traumatic. It still is. I struggle every day with this, with my family. My father was a fun-loving man. He loved his wife. He loved me. I was the apple of his eye. I was his only child. He treasured his grandchildren. He loved my husband as his son. He embraced his friends as family. It was very, very, very difficult and very traumatic to go through this. And I have to deal with this every day. I have no closure. On his death certificate, it states he had presumed COVID, when indeed he wasn't checked, he wasn't tested, because they didn't have any tests in the nursing homes. This is a daily struggle. I don't wish this upon anybody, and nobody should have to go through this.